Is on the brink of shutdown after the last-ditch Senate vote failed. Now, the 55 to 45 vote in the Senate falling short of the 60 votes needed to advance the legislation has ensured that U.S. government agencies will have to discontinue all but essential activities such as law enforcement. Also, the White House Office of Management and Budget has issued a memorandum confirming that the government will indeed shut down at Wednesday midnight and blamed Democrats for the impasse. Now, this is America's 15th government shutdown since 1981. According to a White House memo, the affected agencies should now execute their plans for an orderly shutdown. However, it is unclear how long Democrats will maintain their untenable posture, making the duration of the shutdown difficult to predict. Regardless, the employees should report to work for their next regularly scheduled tour of duty to undertake orderly shutdown activities. And hours ago, when asked about the potential government shutdown, U.S. President Trump told journalists that it's not inevitable, but it does seem likely to happen. He also threatened mass irreversible firings of federal workers if a shutdown happens. He added that he and Republicans are the last ones who want a government shutdown. Trump said Democrats were taking a risk in their negotiations over the shutdown, adding that the Trump administration can cut the benefits it pays out.
They are shutting it down. We're not shutting it down. We don't want it to shut down because we have the greatest period of time ever. I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested, so the last person that wants it shut down is us. Now, with that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse.
Well, a potential U.S. government shutdown threatens to disrupt critical federal services and exacerbate existing challenges in recruiting and retaining federal employees. Now, President of the National Federation of Federal Employees, Randy Irwin, criticized the administration's treatment of federal employees, citing intimidation, terminations, and political interference as factors undermining morale and recruitment.
Well, you know, the American people really benefit from having a talented, highly qualified federal workforce. It already is a tremendous challenge to be able to recruit and retain the necessary talent that we need to do all the important work. Federal employees make 25% less than people in the private sector doing the exact same jobs, which puts the federal government at a real disadvantage.
Well, the looming shutdown would furlough hundreds of thousands of federal workers deemed non-essential and halt operations across numerous agencies, including the Internal Revenue Service, the Pentagon, and federal courts. Generally, in a shutdown, essential workers continue as normal, some without pay, but government employees deemed non-essential are temporarily put on unpaid leave. Also, the shutdown would disrupt the publication of key U.S. economic data, including employment and GDP reports, and affect agencies responsible for approving small business loans and disaster recovery funding. Also, the essential services such as social security payments, air traffic control, and border security would continue, although many workers would do so without pay. National Federation of Federal Employees warned of long-term repercussions for the civil service also.
Somebody knows what your politics are. There are political witch hunts happening in this government that never happened before. And so they're not, when that happens, they're not serving the American people, they're serving their political interests or what have you. And, it's going to be hard to convince a whole generation of people that would want to work for the American people. We're going to be over 300,000 federal employees will have been lost after today since the start of this Trump administration. And we don't know what our functionality of government looks like with that level of staff.